PlayStation 4, Division 2, Warlords of New York, but we are back in DC, and we're going to be looking at uh, League events, Potomac Event Center here in Foggy Bottom. I have already started to complete some of the challenges for this. Let's take a look. So this is where I'm at right now. I've claimed my first prize, if you will. Most of you are already familiar with all this stuff. This is not the point of why I'm doing what I'm doing. But, for the first time earlier, I looked at some of these other stages to complete, if you will, or tasks. And I guess yesterday, or maybe the day before, when I played this for the first time, and I saw that the goal time of 16 minutes was set, I thought to myself, you gotta be out of your freaking mind. There was two of us at the time, and then a third person jumped in, and even with just the two of us, we were getting dropped. I think I had Fog of War and cooldown skills on when we started, so that made it a little bit more challenging. But as much as I may use skills during the cooldown skill directive being active, it's like you don't even really notice it because you get caught up in the gunfight and you're just really not paying attention to the skill unless you're a skill person. But that's me in particular. Anyway, so I add a little bit more. I add a couple of directives to make it more difficult, but we're getting dropped, and that's the part that everybody seems to be talking about. And yes, I watched the State of the Game on Wednesday, March 18, 2020, and I get it that they're going to be working on it. But I wanted to go through this because I started playing this a few minutes ago, and I decided to reset it because I did not notice enemies dropping resources, and I had noticed it just the other day after the most recent patch update. So we're just going to go through this mission here. We'll see how long it takes me on solo challenge. Take a quick look at my build overall. So perfect nearsighted, bullet hell because I got the Bullet King. There it is. Sadist on the AR, Glory Days. I love Glory Days. I love that stability. Using the Technician specialization. And weapon stats are critical hit chance 44.4, critical hit damage 60 on the primary. And then on the Bullet King, it's going to be 32.4 crit chance with 61 crit damage. Sidearm will be 47.4 crit chance with 55% crit damage. These other stats right now really don't matter a whole lot to me. Let's go down to offense. So all weapon damage bonus is 79.9. Rifle, whatever, I'm not using it. AR 28, LMG 15. So let's just round this up to 80. I'm basically at 95% weapon damage when I use the Bullet King, and I would be at 108% on the AR. No bonus to the pistol there. I have a 3-piece Negotiator set and a 3-piece Patriot set. That's just what I happen to go with. I really would like to try a 4-piece Patriot. I tried the 3-piece Negotiator set yesterday, and when you mark your targets, since you can mark up to 3 targets here, I know you probably can't see that real well because it's kind of dark in the background. That works really well. It does. You hit 3 targets, you hit them all critical shots, and now as long as you're shooting that one enemy every critical hit that you land will deal some damage to enemies that you are not fighting at or not shooting at. And nobody else, they don't have to take damage from anywhere else. They just take damage based on the fact of a 20-second timer that is counting down, and that moves pretty rapidly. But at least you get some damage. So, in order to make best use of that, again, we're going to want to have as high crit chance as possible. This is not as high as I could possibly have it. I'm deficient there, let's say almost 28% here, and 16% on the primary. But I'll still land some critical shots, but that's not going to matter right now anyway, because I only have a 3-piece and I have 3-piece True Patriot. I would really like to pick up a 4-piece True Patriot so that I can try to see how that works. What I'm really interested in on the True Patriot is the full flag. Enemies that die under the effect of all 3 debuffs create a 5-meter explosion, dealing damage equal to their total health and armor. Explosion damage reduced on named enemies. So I'm fine with that, but I definitely want to see those explosions. And then maybe if you paired in a piece of equipment that gave you an extra 10 or 15% explosion damage, I'm sure that would parlay nice. So here we have the Stinger Hive. I'm only at a skill tier 1, and then I have my Chem Launcher Reinforcer. Again, the Bullet King Tactical M19 Replica, 209.3 total damage, base damage 109. I have yet to find a pistol that is stronger. Obviously, I have the backup boomstick, and actually I may decide to go with that right now. Let's go backup boomstick instead. 1.2 million damage, 620.6 base. And then we have again the Glory Days high-end assault rifle. Nothing lasts forever. The Balancer. Total damage 92.9, base damage 44.7, 750 RPM, 65 round mag. I have I wonder if I have, I don't think I have anything higher than 13. Maybe I have 13.5 total AR damage back at the base, but we won't worry about that right now. Health damage, critical hit chance, perfect nearsighted. Which perfect nearsighted on this weapon, receive 100% stability at the cost of 35% optimal range. I mean, if that talent is going to pass on to every other gun as a passive talent just while having it holstered, then great. Otherwise, why would you give me 100% stability on this particular gun? Because I think this is a 716G. I forget which assault rifle this mimics or that this is similar to. But most assault rifles have stability that I would say is right around 65 to 80% full anyway. So, if you want to say, okay, maybe you're saying receive 100% stability, meaning that you're just going to give me full stability. Okay, that's fine. But it's not like this was not a stable weapon to begin with. I think if anything, do that shit with an AR. I mean, not an AR, LMG, you know? And I believe that the devs are also looking into the ability to roll onto exotics because, like this, for example, like, okay, I got the Bullet King. It's cool. Like, the best thing about the Bullet King is that for every 100 bullets that you, well, no. The best thing about the Bullet King is that you'd never have to reload. That's it, until you run out of ammo. That's just plain and simple. I've The gun has helped me out so much, so many times. But when we look at these roles here for core attributes, and then the attribute, it's not that sexy. Let's see. Do I have another LMG in here right now? So I have another LMG that blows the Bullet King away as far as damage. Now, obviously, the RPMs are down. I mean, that might as well be in half, but magazine size says 130, but we know that you don't have to reload the Bullet King, and that's really why we're using it. But again, so you make an exotic weapon. To me, the idea that the idea of an exotic weapon should be that it has not only special and unique talents, but that it is more powerful than any other gun. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to make regular weapons just as powerful as an exotic. Obviously, the weapons that we make and or pick up and recalibrate or craft and then recalibrate or craft and maybe get a god roll on everything, that they can't still be as strong as an exotic, but they just wouldn't have that exotic talent. What are we really talking about here when we're talking about exotic? What makes an exotic exotic? What makes something high end? You know, up until just a week ago, I was rocking some purple knee pads or holster. Was it? Which one was it? Here you go. 10.8% weapon damage with 10% skill. I mean, I get the 10% AR, so that's 20.8% weapon damage to my AR. You know what I mean? Um, but the exotics, something really needs to be done here. And what I wanted to say at the beginning of this video, before I started recording this, I was playing through Potomac here, and I was just absolutely getting smoked by some red guys. I'm in cover, and I got these fucking suicide bombers running at me. Fire is the most deadly thing in this game. Um, there is no more Hollow Man 100% hazard protection. Please bring that motherfucker back. If you're going to have fire as deadly as it is right now, the Hollow Man 100% hazard protection is even more important. It is so essential right now. Previously, not so much. I could sit in cover and be burning for seconds, like 10 seconds, and I would not die. Now, if I get hit with a bullet and then catch on fire, it's a wrap. Still drinking the morning coffee here. Again, good morning to the rest of the world. It is Thursday, March 19, 2020. Things are coming to a halt here in the world, as things have come to a halt in the world of the division. So back to the point. Um, and I started getting pretty frustrated, and I started to play this on challenge by myself because yesterday I ran it with a buddy, and we were getting dropped. At least we had each other there to pick each other up. We would occasionally both get dropped and have to, respawn. Cool, whatever. But I wanted to see how I did on my own, and I was starting to get hit up right after you go through this first area, and then you go down the stairs, and you got you got one suicide bomber walking with a couple of guys, and you got two that come out of a door, and then another two that run straight at you. Um, you know, when you're the only person running from a suicide bomber, it's very difficult to get away from him, to turn around, aim, fire, and hopefully there's enough distance between the two of you to where you can pump around in the chest and make them pop. But now if somebody is behind you shooting at you, you're getting dropped so quick. So yeah, all it takes, we know that it only takes a couple of bullets to get dropped. If it's a yellow guy, okay, maybe we can deal with that. But the purples and the reds, no. And in no game, I don't think in any game. Now I get it, Division 2, role playing game. There's this whole system. Division 2 really is its own thing. Okay, there's nothing else out there like it. Now, Division 2, you are on the verge of either still making or breaking this game. Earlier yesterday, and maybe even the day before when I was playing this, I started to get frustrated. I got frustrated to the point where I was like, you know what? The new Doom Eternal is coming out in a couple of days, and as much as I don't want to put this game down, I'm getting fucking frustrated. And it's like starting to make me angry to the point that I don't even want to play the game because it's frustrating. And I don't like to be frustrated. Nobody does, right? Now, at the same time, I do not want a game that I walk through. But enemies in general, I would think, should have the same amount of health and armor that we do. Like that's just the rule, right? That's the word. That is the world. Maybe that's the story mode, and then hard is 10%, and then challenge is 25%, and heroic is 50%, and legendary is 100% higher than what we have. 200%, 300%. Okay, so if I have right now 662 armor with 271 health, that's 8, 9, 30. Let's just say altogether, I have 9, we'll call it 1,000,000. So I got 1,000,000 health points, right? And the other thing too, about going into the gun range. So if I go into the gun range with this gun and I'm shooting at a standalone target, and it says that I'm doing DPS of whatever, 5 million, 4 million, 3 million, 10 million. That is not taking into consideration group scaling, and that's also assuming that you have a target that's not shooting back at you, not moving, and not just moving side to side behind cover, but rushing at you, tossing fire at you that will instantly kill you in combination with being hit with a fucking bullet. Now, if I have 1,000,000, let's just say total health points, okay, armor and health combined. Okay, so maybe 1,000,000 isn't enough to say, for story. Maybe it's 2 million. And then on hard, you go to 4 million. And on challenge, you go to 10 million. And so forth. And I guess that makes it perhaps too easy, but 70 million, to the point where, and then again, I know that you guys know this, I know that this is nothing new, but when these other guys are hitting us so hard, again, you're gonna make people stop playing this game. And to me, the Division 2 is the first time in a long time, years, I mean like 5+ years, that I have played a game for as long as I have played it, as consistently as I have played it. I have logged at least, 40 hours, and I know that there's players out there that have logged way more time in here, and I'm sure that they share the same sentiment. A lot of them do. At least half of the individuals that I play with right now feel this way. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet you my PlayStation that everybody that I play with regularly, there's nobody in that group that says, oh, no, this is good. Yeah, this all works. And again, we know that the devs know this, but I think that they need to hear it as much as possible. And I know that when I was watching State of the Game, they'll say things like, hey, well, share a video with us. Let us see what's going on. Let us see what's working, what's not working. So I guess really, this video here is for the devs. It's also for whoever wants to just get a perspective on the game. Not so much gameplay like, hey, this is where to find this and where to find that. more so, let's test this game out. So here we go.
What the hell? Stay here. I'll go check it out.
I'm in. Main entrance is clear.
Agent, you need to cut off the primary escape route. Take out the boats they've got docked southwest of your position.
I'll keep an eye on the main entrance and make sure he doesn't double back.
So stability really helps out right there because I'm able to hit him in the chest and make him pop. Fortunately, I ran to that spot soon enough so that I was behind cover, still able to have enough distance between he and I so that he wouldn't, you know, catch me on fire once he blew me up.
I'm in trouble here.
It's also uber important to be aware of your surroundings. In particular with guys who are tossing Molotov cocktails or flame grenades at you, you know.
No ammo. You'll get your cover.
See, I don't think that that should be happening right there. Now, you could tell me, well, you should have healed before you went cover to cover. But then, I mean, so now I got this purple asshole on me. Oh, what the fuck?
Fucking support truck.
So you're gonna tell me that I hit him with however many rounds I hit him with, and I can't manage to kill him, right? Like that's and of course I'm playing here by myself in a fucking sandstorm. Which, okay, I mean that's fine. I mean, I can dig it. Why is this hive not picking up this guy? Got no shot from nowhere. This storm. Now would be a good time to have a pulse. Let's see, do I have that pulse on? That was the other thing. Yesterday I had this on and I had spotter active, but I did not notice the spotter icon coming up when I was in the shooting range. So I'm not sure if spotter was not working yesterday or pulsing. So right now, I mean, he should be pulsed.
Detecting weak points.
There we go. Or maybe this guy doesn't have no weak point. And the weak point should be the head. Right? Plain and simple. I mean, the head should always be a weak point.
Weak points detected.
And I feel like, especially if I'm landing those shots on him, I don't think that I want to say either they shouldn't be able to hit me at all, or that bullet needs to do significantly less damage, especially at the current rate that they do damage.
Vital signs critical.
So now you could say alternatively, well, don't lay down the fire on him, right? Pop a couple shots, and we have that. So lay a couple shots, lay off, right? Like a real gunfight.
Detecting weak points.
Okay, I mean, I can dig that. But now, it's gonna take me that much longer. I mean, 16 minutes? Let's see how we do on a clear sunny day.
Weak points exposed. Immediate medical assistance needed.
So,
Agent vital signs.
so I jumped back because, well, I got jumped back.
Zero.
I couldn't jump to the other side. And right now, I didn't even get to reach a checkpoint, so now I'm back at the beginning. And the timer's still running, fuck that. You know? change something. Let's see. Let's give it another run here. Now, previously, I had gotten much further than that. I mean, I'm going to lose 20% critical hit damage. $65% all weapon damage bonus. I mean, I just dropped 10%. Let's go with the Petrov mask. Let's go with the 4-piece negotiator set. Let's go with composure on that and take a quick look. So decent crit chance in the primary, not bad on the secondary. All weapon damage 73, AR 15, LMG 33. So we'll do 106 on the LMG and 85 on the AR, which is blah at best, I think. But let's now look at that Negotiator's Dilemma 4-piece. Critical hits mark enemies for 20 seconds, up to 3 marks total. When you critically hit a marked enemy, all other enemies take 60% of the damage dealt. I mean, that's cool. It's probably particularly necessary for a solo run. So as long as you're marking those guys with critical hits, then they will continue to take some type of damage. And let's do Reviver Hive. Save that. Do that. And then we'll do this here. And call that. So now we got a couple quick loadouts to flip through. Let's do that. You know, you guys are talking about build diversity, so yeah, you know, you're forcing me to go in that direction right now of all weapon damage, but then it's not even helping me that much. So, you know, really, what the hell are we talking about? Oh, and I did not notice on any of those enemies that I killed there, them dropping supplies.
What the hell? Stay here. I'll go check it out.
I'm in. Main entrance is clear.
Agent, you need to cut off the primary escape route. Take out the boats they've got docked southwest of your position.
I'll keep an eye on the main entrance and make sure he doesn't double back.
Also, I really miss my Nemesis, and I want to be able to craft my exotic holster. I was at the crafting station and it said that I had already crafted that item, but I did not see it. So I could see the numbers of 60% damage occurring to the second enemy that I had marked. Supposed to be suicide bombers out here somewhere.
Weak points exposed.
What the fuck? I don't have special ammo on. That was the other thing too, you know. You got these guys using special ammo and that's not even one of the directives that I've applied.
Detected.
So even there, where I was popping off a few rounds, going back to cover, popping off a few, you know, sticking and moving.
Weak points exposed.
It was still lit me up. Oh, come on! I wasn't even near the fucking fire. Apparently I was, but come on. So that was cool because it looked like I had hit the second guy that was running at me, and the other guy that was already damaged took his damage, and that killed him. So that's a nice. When I first saw what Negotiator's Dilemma offered yesterday for the first time, I said to myself, that looks like that could be particularly useful. And I think if you're going to use it in a group setting, then maybe it carries over to your other partners. I know I'm asking for complicated stuff. Division players, you know, we ask for a lot, I think, but you have offered a product. You've kind of set a benchmark, so this is what we expect. You know, this is the standard now. Is there any way to retreat back up in here? Technically there is. I could get behind that bus, but then you end up pinning yourself down. So that's nice.
Detecting weak points.
And that fucker still almost got close to me, man. Now I get it. In real life, you know, hey, fire is some deadly stuff, right? And I like that aspect of games that, you know, what's realistic, what's not realistic. I mean, in real life, one bullet to the leg and you're gonna be out because you can't run, you can't move. So there's a balance there of, you know, what's real and what's not. Oh, come on.
Serious trauma
Where the hell did he
detected.
even come from?
Weak points exposed. Vital signs critical. Agent incapacitated.
Now I gotta wait 220 more seconds for that damn thing to come back up, dude.
Detecting weak points.
Like I think that's a fair amount of time to kill that particular enemy.
One more for the front. Now, take you apart.
You know, but like right now, I better not have another, what you call it, suicide bomber running up on me. If another one had run up on me, then it's a wrap. You know, the guys that are, the players, I don't want to say guys because it's guys and gals. And when I say guys, I'm referring to you ladies as well, just as a general term. Um, but when you players out there, you know, do these speed runs, it's like, man, these people,
I'm seeing a lot of
they got the
hostiles by the
best of
docks.
the
They're
best, and
securing
they
the
know
boats.
exactly
They must
where
be waiting for the order to
everything is
launch.
at. They know where
If the
these
strategist
enemies are
gets on one of
coming
those boats,
from,
we'll lose our
how
chance to
many
bring him
they
in.
come.
Keep moving. You're
They
almost
they
there.
they're thinking about this game on a level that, you know, you and I as an average player can't even begin to think about.
Weak points
And I think
exposed.
also that for the devs to, I'm glad that you admitted that you had tuned this for the perfect build, if you will. And personally, I prefer transparency as opposed to, oh, we're just working on that. I don't like that. I don't like being lied to or bullshitted to. Um, but come on, man. You really sitting there telling me that when you guys were designing it, that you didn't think, okay, now what about the person who has the worst build? And since all of this gear and weapon stuff is randomly generated, right? It's not based off of the number of times that you play through a mission, how well you do, marks that you're hitting, like accuracy, uh, death to kill ratio, things like that. It's totally random. So I'm sure that there's some poor, unfortunate bastard out there who just doesn't get anything, you know, unless that's how you have the system tweaked to provide it. In which case, you know, and to the YouTubers out there and the Twitchers that are making these videos, showing like, oh yeah, I just went here and I got this weapon and I got this gear and I got this god roll and I got that god roll. You know what? Why don't you tell us how many hours it really took you to get that and be realistic with it? You know, hey, look, I play this game 60 hours a week and I don't, this is my professional job and that's why I'm able to do it. And I think we need to know from more gamers who are casual. Like, if you only played this game 6 hours a week, you wouldn't have shit.
Detecting weak points.
That's the bottom line. It's just not possible. And thank goodness I did not have another suicide bomber on me. And or that happening, and that is happening, and I cannot hop over anything. And it says immune. Immune from what? You already burned me.
Cover me. Loading. No shot from here.
Weak points exposed.
Bleeding. Going for light them up.
Take that, you son of a gun. And what if there was somebody coming from there? I can't rush through that fire because the fire is going to burn the shit out of me.
Serious trauma detected.
So how is a solo player supposed to enjoy this? If the better gear drops on the higher difficulty levels, how is a solo player supposed to enjoy this? I'm 13 minutes in. Now, if that's the design of the game, that you want us to move slow and steady and be uber tactical with it, okay, then you need to change how this is working. Because again, let's say that I I only have maybe 1 hour of time to play this game per day. 6 hours a week. Let's say 5 hours a week. Even if I had 2 hours a day, that's 10 hours for the week.
Detecting weak points.
I'm already 15 minutes into a game session. So 15 minutes into 2 hours is an eighth of the way through my game session for the day. There's no way I earn enough XP to rank up um, in any kind of healthy time fashion, or let's say rapid time fashion. And then if your gear drops on the exotic stuff is so low at 7% on heroic, you know, you're never gonna get anything. I think in order to make that fair, then, the conversation becomes, well, then, so what are we supposed to do, Dirty? Really, because that's what the question is going to come back to me. Well, what would you like us to do, Mr. Dirty? Do you, I think the topic becomes, well, do you have settings for guys or players, gals and guys, who play 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, 10 hours a week? I don't know. And I don't have the answers for all of these questions right now. I'm not a dev. I'm not paid to think about these things. I'm not paid to come up with answers for these things. I mean, to me, you're the dev, right? It's your job the dev's job is to make the game. And from a technical perspective, no, I guess it's not the dev's responsibility to make sure that this game is super functional, because they take their direction from somebody else, and that person is just saying, hey, make product A, B, C, and
You're
D,
almost
and
at the
make
dock,
sure
Agent.
that
Hope you're
this
not too
product
late.
functions A, B, and C. Make sure that those functions work properly with X, Y, and Z in a solo and multiplayer game type setting. Can we go back? See, I can't
Away from the boats! Do whatever it takes!
Okay.
Detecting weak points.
Heads up. I'm seeing a lot of movement toward the boats, but no sign of the strategist.
Weak points exposed.
And now that I'd like to switch my hive out, I can't. Because it's still under cooldown. I mean, currently the way the game is set up, you would have to be able to have like max armor regeneration as a attribute on every single piece of equipment, and you would need to have max hazard protection. And the other, so here's a question: what is hazard protection? Hazard protection from what? Because you also have burn resistance. Now, previously I understood that if you just wanted burn resistance, you could have that, but the Hollow Man mask provided 100% hazard protection, and it was from everything: poison, fire, shock, you name it, it protected you. Now, what is it doing?
Detecting weak points.
One, two, three, four. So it takes about 10 seconds to heal myself almost completely full.
Agent, we can't let the strategist get away. You need to destroy all of the boats.
I see those damage numbers working, but no, up to this point, nobody has dropped any supplies. Now, I did do this mission yesterday, and we beat it, but, I mean, that shouldn't matter. You want us to farm, how am I supposed to farm if it's not working? And, you know, one of the comments that I have heard from a couple of players that are within my friend group, or it's a friend of mine in particular, he's not part of my clan, and he says, like, you know, the game is broken. It's like, why can't you just put a game out that works properly from the beginning? And, you know, I don't have a good answer for him. But I would like to think that you put enough time into this game from Jump Street.
I hit that.
Weak points exposed.
So that we're not here having to have these conversations.
Detecting weak points.
Is somebody still out there? So, I mean, what I was saying a second ago, right? So, you spend how much time programming a game, and now you're constantly fixing it. And I think part of the problem there is that, and what a lot of gamers don't get, is that The Division really is a unique game, at least in my opinion, and I don't have a point of reference for any other games that are similar to this because I just don't know of many that are like this. But you have a game here that is connected to a server. So that was one thing that I never liked about the Division 1, that I could not play it on my own. I had to play it. Well, let me say it again. One of the things I did not like about the Division 1 was that I always had to be connected to the internet. So personally, I like games that I can play without having an internet connection. It just seems
We need reinforcements on the dock.
it seems nice. It seems
Take out
like
the
something
intruders.
that
Protect the
should
boats.
exist. For whatever reason, it does not exist within the
Agent, we can't
Division,
let the
but
strategists
that's
get away.
because it's
You
not
need
for
to
whatever
destroy
reason.
all of the boats.
It doesn't exist within the Division because the Division is a live game. And, you know, if this is the direction that we're headed with next-gen consoles like PS5 and Xbox Scarlet, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I mean, it's great when it works, but when it doesn't, I've always liked the ability to play a game without having to have the internet connection and or without needing additional teammates. So yeah, I'm doing okay so far by myself. It's a lot more fun when I have a friend. But you know, back to the drawing board. So one of the issues with having a game that is connected to the internet like this, or that requires an internet connection like this, is that updates can be made, changes can be made for player satisfaction, but what ends up happening is, well, now we change this one thing and something else changes. And those are not real easy questions to answer as to why they occur. And I get it, you know, you guys do the state of the game, it's 45 minutes, maybe an hour. You talk about certain things, and you know, how much time do you really want to take to discuss all of the nuances of the game, of this and that? I mean, you could be there for hours
Kelso?
talking about
Shit.
why
Agent
this and
Kelso's
why
not
that.
responding.
And the reason they do
Damn it,
the state
Kelso.
of the game is because
Okay,
it's
slight change of
necessary.
plans.
Not
With the boats
because
out of
it's just
commission, the
such a
target
great
should
game
still
and
be
we
in
got so
sight.
much cool
We have to
content,
make sure he
but
doesn't slip
because there
past
are
us.
things that are technically broken within the game. And, you know, again, so don't just come out and tell me, like, oh yeah, you know, and I know that you guys don't just come out and just try to sell us on a bag of chips, or, you know, like that this is the best thing since sliced bread. But the point is that, listen, we know the game is messed up. And here's why, though, okay? When we provide a live product, blah, 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 and maybe they have said that because truth is, I have not watched State of the Game since day one. I have not seen every single episode of it. Um, and I'm going to sit here and wait until this hive cools down so that I can switch the hive. So I think that's something that should be addressed right there, that maybe when we go in between sections here, the skill cooldown. Let me see, maybe I can switch some gear and accelerate that, kind of cheat the system. Let's see. Let's label this skills. How many tiers do we have? We're at 5 tiers. Now, in order to do that, let's see what we just did. Let's see. Number one, how much faster? Oh, so see, look, that repaired super fast. See how long that takes. One 1,000, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know what? We're going to just do a stopwatch because my counting, I'm sure, is not accurate. Ten seconds. Let's see if the skill cooldown is accurate for what it says. We're at 35 seconds. Almost done with the next one. So that's going quickly. Let's do this now. Actually, let's check our weapon damage. So crit chance is now 12%. Whoop-de-doo. 5%. 0%. Great. 13% all weapon damage. This should be real. So, I mean, even then, like, right, I mean, in order for the game to work as it is, so here's something to consider, devs. I'm sure that you guys are kind of already in the process of fixing whatever it is wrong with the scaling, but, you know, you could have circumvented that by saying, here, have access to everything. Yeah, it's difficult, and it's going to be a bitch of a task to get to point A of acquiring some decent gear. But guess what? You're going to have a core attribute. You'll be able to have armor, weapon damage, and a skill tier on it. Because that's what's going to be necessary in order to eliminate the enemies. Like, that's literally what we would need right now. We'd have to be able to have all of that. And then as far as attributes are concerned, we'd have to be able to have the ability to recalibrate more than one attribute and one core attribute. So if you don't want to change the difficulty scaling, like if I don't know which is more work, I would think that it's less work to say, hey, let's go ahead and add a second and third. Guess what? Everybody, the purple gear has one core attribute, gold has two, exotic has three core attributes. And in addition to, and you know, every piece of gear is going to have multiple attributes. You can have a couple of blues, a couple of reds, a couple of yellows, so that everything can be tweaked. And then you get back into the mods, so that we're filling mods in where the attributes are. Mods that give us weapon handling, so that we're not having to recalibrate the attributes. Instead, we are only recalibrating the core attributes, which would be your weapon damage and armor. And if you wanted to throw health up there, then go ahead. Also, a buddy of mine, shout out to Unknown Origin, he had suggested or asked the question about a week ago. I think it was him, might have been Kip, whichever one of you guys it was one of you two. Um, Somebody had asked the question, are we going to be able to recalibrate our watch, or let's say maybe I have allocated all of these points here to weapon damage, but I decide now that I want to do it to critical hit chance or damage or headshot damage. I think that we should be able to, without cost of resources or digital currency from the game, the stuff that we get from selling weapons and whatever it is that we do, we should not have to spend any of those resources or currencies in order to say, you know what, I want to take these 11 points that I have here that is eventually only going to give me 10%. Whoop-de-doo. But I want to put that over here on chance. Let me see how that works with chance as opposed to weapon damage. Maybe I find out that maybe I didn't understand really every aspect of this game, okay? Because like even me, I've been playing the game since July. I'm still learning about this game. Um, Fortunately for me, I understand how these items work, skills work, whatever you want to call these things. Um, but maybe you get somebody who doesn't and they're putting it all on headshot, but they realize they should have had it as weapon damage. Or maybe somebody who really does understand it says, weapon damage isn't really doing a whole lot for me. Let's put it at critical hit chance. Now, you know what? I got a different piece of gear now. Because in the beginning, you're trying to get certain stats to be at a certain point. But now maybe you've got gear that supplements whatever need it is that you were looking for within the utility, the handling, the defensive aspect, and the offensive aspect. And another thing regarding scavenging. So again, back to my boys, or Unknown Origin and EOD Kip. The question was asked, will we be able to, reassign points wherever we want to? I think that we should be able to, and I'm not sure if yesterday in State of the Game you said that we were supposed to be earning more than 1 point upon each level up, because that's absurd, the amount of time it's going to take us to get there. Now, if you had had this in place since day one, okay, stuff's maxed out or we're already there. But this is so slow. And again, with respect to everything else, with respect to the state of how this game is right now, with weapon damage, enemy health, enemy armor, and our ability to take damage. And then the scavenging, okay? So I can't open this right now because I have no points to invest in this attribute. However, if you're going to tell me that upon acquiring, how many is it? 700,000 XP, right? So I just earned 700,000 XP. And you're going to tell me that my reward is that I get to go into the scavenging icon, and I get to pick 10 electronic pieces when I can hold up to 1,500, and I'm burning through these pieces and the enemies aren't dropping the pieces. You know what? Just eliminate scavenging, or just give us the damn resources. To restock our resources. How about that? And even then, like, we should be able to hold on to more resources than what we have, or you should change something there, because it's like I'm constantly full of protective fabric and receiver components, and steel right now because I've been making some guns. But like, these are the two fabrics or materials that we burn through. Everything else just doesn't seem to get used up that quick. Obviously, these do if you're crafting specific name brand gear, but that's something else that really needs to be addressed. And I think as well, I know that now on the map you will show us, like in this instance here, an outcast lockbox. But once you have been to a box, there should be a way to pull those boxes up on the map at all times. So, well, it is now here, but do I need to now go back through every box in the game and interact with it for it to show up on the map? And for as long as everybody's been playing the game, just go ahead and make this stuff populate, dude. I think that these boxes are here because I have recently been to these locations. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I would think that those boxes should just be available. And after you've played the games for a certain amount of time, maybe have a different way to make accessible um, the echoes and other collectible items. You know, I suppose we could just go online and look for them, but and I mean those last comments there. I mean the lock boxes in particular, because we look at how many keys I have. I remember when it was 20 of 20 was the max, and well, what am I supposed to do with them? Because I wasn't coming across the boxes, and I like that the boxes are hidden off in places. That's cool. And also, now that we're on the topic of it, I know that this video is supposed to be about this particular mission, but I've gotten off into a tangent here, and I will end on this note. Bounties. So if I go fight this bounty, and this guy, it says that he's here, but he might end up appearing over here or something like that. Or I select this bounty, and he ends up being over here, and I go to this bounty, and maybe this bounty is just right over here. Maybe he's not that far away. That's fine. But we're doing these bounties, and we're fighting this person in the same location. We do this person, this bounty, and this guy is right over here all the time, or whatever it is. Like, I'm constantly going back to the same locations to fight bounty after bounty. You're telling me in a map that is as big as it is right here, and right now we're just looking at bounties, right? So on the map currently, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 locations on the map, not including 1, 2, 3 dark zones. So 16 different locations on the map. And we are constantly going back to fight bounties in the same locations. Now, I'm glad that you finally switched up some stuff with the bounties now where, okay, the guys don't always come out of the same place. It's not the same number of guys, but it's repetitive still. I mean, like there's so much area here that can be used. And at the same time, there's so much area that is not being used to play out bounties. So this is the bounty map. Now let's go back to our all map. I mean, you tell me we can't have a bounty in the Pentagon. Maybe we can't have a bounty at Washington National Airport. And the same thing's happening here in New York. You got a bounty, it's in the same couple of spots. What about bounties in Camp White Oak, Coney Island, the zoo, the college? And I don't like that the college is constantly opening and closing. Like, this is the least played. I don't know why. I would like to know why, but I don't know why. So let's get back into this. Obviously, the total time that it takes me to get through this game session will not be a reflection of how difficult it was, because I've been flapping at the gums for a hot minute now. So we are at tier 5, 6 stinger charges, 60% damage, 30% range, 420% health. Now let's keep in mind again that my weapon damage went down from, I think it was, let's see where we're going to be at. So 13, 48, 53% AR damage, and 18% LMG damage. That is with my tier 5 build. And we go back to the build that we were just using prior to that. We had 58% on weapon, plus 28 on the ARs, 78, 86% weapon damage, and then on the LMG, 83. Let's go back to a slightly different build here. We had 73 plus 28 is 101 and 98. 101 and 98. So 101 on the AR and 98 on the LMG. Obviously, there are some significant differences here in terms of what's happening with my player. And fiber. So let's see how it works with this skill now. Tier 5. That is. I did not save the Stinger Hive.
Perfect! So predictable. Kill them and feed the burn pit.
Weak point exposed. Weak points detected.
So if fire is going to kill me that rapidly, then it needs to kill him that rapidly as well. Because if that had been one of us that got dropped or hit with some ammo and then burned with fire, we would have been done hit the ground.
Detecting weak points.
The time to kill him doesn't seem to be too crazy.
Detecting weak points. Weak points detected. Weak points exposed.
Motherfucker. Overall, not that difficult, not that overwhelming. You know, not a lot of yellow guys coming out, which I thought previously yellow meant challenge, but maybe it only means heroic. Um, but now we also know that because it's not on the highest level difficulty, I'm not going to get the best drops.
Without Kelso, capturing the strategist won't be easy. It's up to you to finish the job, Agent.
They'll have to go through the theater. Cut them off and kill them. Cut them off. What's wrong with you? Shit. This place is flashing.
Detecting weak points. Weak points detected.
Damn it. And that too, man. The jumping,
Immediate medical assistance needed.
again, you jump out of cover to get away from something, and then you gotta be immediately fucking stuck to another wall.
exposed.
I know that that's a setting that can be turned off as far as just pressing X to get into cover. Or you hold down the button.
Weak points detected.
Oh, come on. See, this is... Fuckers. You know, them throwing the flames and, you know, it slowing you down is one
Weak
thing,
points exposed.
and maybe isn't so disruptive by itself, but when you combine it with everything else, or compound it with everything else, and so how is he not dead, first of all? You know, compound all that stuff with everything else, and yeah, it becomes frustrating and not fun to play.
Detecting weak points. Weak points exposed.
And the way that they made us bleed. Mm.
Was that gunfire? Agent, I didn't send reinforcements. You'll need to clear the building.
Heroic, forget about it, you know?
I'm not dead. My
Phone
watch
everyone
broke
share
and I
at
lost
once.
comms. Listen,
Wait,
I need you
is
to
that
cover
Kelso?
me while I head to the Falcons.
Thank God. Is Kelso all right?
Detecting weak points. Weak points exposed.
I can get to it.
Serious trauma detected.
Don't waste your time. All was lost.
Let me do it now.
two, don't let them into the concert hall. Right where I want you.
Got him now! No fucking prisoners!
Detecting weak points. Exposed.
I just wish your son
Fire detected.
Hustle.
Detecting weak points.
Get a medic to them.
Weak points detected. Vital signs critical.
Motherfucker.
Agent deceased.
This fucking shit up.
Thought I'd sit and wait for you to assassinate me? Now I've got you right where I want you.
Weak points exposed. Weak points detected.
Working away.
What the fuck? Now you got the fucking wall blocking me and there's no wall there. Can't fucking hit it. Get the fuck out of here. Nobody's supposed to have special ammunition, man.
Immediate medical assistance needed. Agent killed.
Fuckers.
right where I want you.
I know that motherfucker's not using a shotgun from the balcony to hit.
Weak points exposed.
So I could kill him right now, but I'm going to wait for my charges to refill so that I have a chance. You know, when they're so much stronger than you, okay, it's one thing to be one-on-one. And I get it, these guys are not healing themselves. But when I gotta deal with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, and they're way tougher with a boss that's got some shit that's gonna kill me with one shot. Should not even come down to that at all.
Fire detected. Detecting weak points.
motherfuckers. And you know what? That's going to be the end of the video right there. That is what's wrong with this game. I am going to say this right now as an official statement. I will wait for Doom to come out and or find something else to play until this stuff gets fixed. I'll check in with my agents and maybe I'll go do something else, but that shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be happening at all. And I'll tell you what, in all fairness to you, okay, so that's that one particular build. Let's look at this build here. So this is the one that's got me with a bunch of extra weapon damage, okay? So what did I say? I'm at like 98 and 103, and then I guess if you take into consideration composure, so I could be as much as like 118, you know. Let's see. I'll be fair. Now all I have is healing skills.
Weak points exposed.
Now I've got you right where I want you.
Thought that was a headshot. I'm exposed here.
Weak points detected.
He's not even aiming at me.
Reloading.
Weak points exposed. Weak points detected. Detecting weak points.
Can't go get on ammo.
points detected.
I just wish your suffering could last as long as ours did.
Weak points exposed.
God damn it. Oh, the fuck out of here. What the f-
Light to the darkness!
Look at you, in your smug arrogance. You think you're better than us? You got the right to kill us? Huh? We got the power of life and death now! We're going to use it!
On me. Bloody cover. Close. Get away! Grenade! That'll slow that agent down.
Immediate medical assistance
Ah,
needed.
get the fuck out of there.
Agent out of action.
Out of the field!
Damn it.
System curtailed. Serious trauma detected. System restored. System malfunctioning. System reactivated. Weak points exposed. Weak points detected. Immediate medical assistance needed.
Uh,
Please don't hurt me. I'll do whatever you want. I'll tell you everything.
Now, I'm glad I did not quit prematurely. But if this is the way you want the game to be played, then let us know that from Jump Street. Off rip, say, look, this is how we want this to be on hard. Well, my world is on hard. The mission was on challenge. 1 hour and 31 minutes and 26 seconds by myself. Obviously, there's at least a half an hour there that was me just talking and kind of standing around. But that just doesn't seem. And and at the end of the day, even if it was understood that that's what the mission took in terms of time and in terms of gameplay. Now I understand that this case is not a reward for completing that mission, but the RNG system that you have or are using has to be tweaked in a way. Now I obviously understand that it could be tweaked in a way that would be totally uh, beneficial for the players who spend all the time, and like for the people that have already reached level 100 in the first week or first couple of days. They just blew through this content was designed to last months. Like I was reading on Twitter some people's comments about somebody who had posted that he was only one level away from 100. And there's lots of comments like, look, I got a job, I got to work, I got a family, I got a life. I got stuff I want to do, but I like the game, and I don't want to have to wait 9 months to acquire something that is then going to be outdated. And then, so what's the replay value here? Huh? I mean, the replay value is, hey guys, thanks for whatever comments, but I would really strongly recommend you to go back. I know this is a long ass video, but watch some other video because I have some very important points about this game. This video in particular is directed at the devs. I'm going to tag them as soon as I'm done here and get to the office, but it took me 1 hour and 31 minutes on challenge. Give or take, let's just say at least an hour on challenge. Um, and I struggled at times. I had to throw on a skill build. I had to throw on switch. I had to switch you 2 or 3 different builds to get through one mission on challenge by myself. And then the rewards of it. So what, you're gonna tell me that this is my reward here? Stage 2 of Potomac Center is the reward. So to get to stage 10 in 16 minutes, I don't know how that's going to happen with me by myself. And because of the scaling problems with adding additional people in here, I think the quickest I could probably get through this is in about 25 minutes. And that's if I was super efficient, had an accuracy rate of around 75%, and did not get dropped. And I'd have to be dealing 150% weapon damage as it is. A couple of the things I had said was that, instead of them going back and fixing the scaling, it's almost like you need to have in your gear the ability to have as a core attribute, for example, weapon damage, armor, and the skill tier. You almost need all 3 of those, and then you need multiple attributes like red, blue, yellow, and you almost need 2 reds, 2 blues, 2 yellows in order to just last as it currently stands right now. You know, um, congratulations on level 100. You know, what level am I at here? Level 42. I mean, and I'm fine with that level 42, and it's cool that there's people at whatever higher level play as much as you can play. But really, at the end of the day, what are the rewards that they're kicking back to us? Is it really worth it? It's a randomly generated system that determines uh, what gear quality and what roles, and we need to be able to roll or recalibrate multiple items. Um, Maybe because you're level 100, obviously because you're that level, you've had the chance to pick up so many more items. But what about for the players that don't have that much time to play? Or maybe, let's just say, maybe the players that are not as good as yourself, right? Because um, just for every great player, there's somebody else better. So there's this group of players out there that they're so good, whether it's they're constantly shooting 75% accuracy, or maybe they got, and in conjunction with that, they have the best luck at getting the best god rolls. And it's still a complex system as far as understanding how do I make all this work. Although I think it's a lot easier now than what it was previously by having to have X amount of red, blues, or yellows, and then the talents, and then, oh, well, I can't have too many of this one because the other talent says that I can't. Um, Ultimately, though, man, I know that the devs are talking about, fixing the scaling problems, but then the other thing that happened to me this morning was that there was no resources dropping from any of the enemies. When I just ran this mission yesterday and they dropped. Now, I don't care that I ran it yesterday and they dropped. Those resources need to be dropping every single time, and that's I remember when I did Roosevelt before on heroic, and it was relatively quick, but you know, again, I'm willing to bet that you and your friend that did Roosevelt on heroic in about 23 minutes. And look, I know we can go look at the leaderboards and see. Sure, there's a bunch of people that do it quickly, but that's not the majority. So with everything in life, there's exceptions to the rule. There's people that get it done quick and are super good at whatever. And do I wish I was super good like that? Not necessarily. I mean, I play how I play, and I'm cool with it. But I feel like the game is. I'm just sharing sentiment and comments that I have heard and that other players have shared with me as I talk with gamers and clanmates and friends. And yesterday I watched State of the Game, and I heard one of the devs say, and I've heard them say this in the past, to share videos with us, especially when things are not working. Um, Use the rogue DPS glitch. So there you go, right? You got it in 23 minutes, and thank you for admitting that you used a glitch, right? If it had not been for that glitch, maybe it's only another 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but it's not that time, right? It's something else, or it's that much more difficult. So anyway, yesterday, State of the Game, they were like, hey, look, send us a video, something's not working. And I feel like it's kind of hard to just see something not working and then for me to just take a clip of that video and upload it. So I decided to go ahead and stream the session this morning, and then I'll just tag the devs later and say, hey, look, man, I've got some comments in there for you. Watch it. Look, whether or not they do or not, I'm doing my part, because really, especially with the scaling thing, man, when you get into 3 and 4 people, it's absurd. It's absurd. Like, we could not get through Federal Bunker yesterday in the last room. It's just little things, the suicide bombers. Um, oh, wow. Okay, well, I have no idea what that glitch is. And so there you go, right? Like, I have no idea what that glitch is. I play this game all the time, and like, I don't take advantage of glitches. I don't know. I just don't. I'm not the type of player that is looking for glitches to do stuff, even if it's just for the sake of saying, "Oh, it's cool, let's get it done," unless it's just a little Easter egg.
You are now group
Um,
leader.
it's
A clan
I just
member
don't.
has joined your
So,
team.
hey, whoever just joined in, I'm streaming right now. But as I play through the game, and I'm not looking for glitches and ways to take advantage of the game. And now glitches like shit that's fucked up glitch stopping you from playing is one thing, but a glitch that's, let's say, allowing you to speed run a mission in 6 minutes, that's a whole different story. But even then, so I don't do that, and I don't care about it. I just want to play the game, but I want it to play right. And I'm at the point right now where I'm gonna put this game down for at least a week because Doom comes out in a couple of days, and I'm tired of being frustrated with just how many different things need to be fixed. And I'm look, does the division, do those devs really care if I stop playing? Probably not. Same way if a customer came to me and was like, well, you need to fix this and you need to fix that, and it's like, well, look, our hands are tied. Resources are limited, or there's only so much we can do. Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you want to go somewhere else, that's your choice. You don't have to use our product or service. Um, but in order to make the product better, they have to have the feedback, in particular, the type of feedback that I provided here in this video. And yeah, I have the Bullet King. I picked it up in New York playing the drag off mission. I mean, look, and I got lucky, right? So I've got buddies who've been playing this game since Warlords of New York came out, since it dropped, and I got a couple of them who the only exotic weapons they've picked up are like exotic weapons, level 40 Lullaby or the Nemesis. Not many of them have picked up the Bullet King and or Lady Death yet. So I was fortunate there, but even then, my Bullet King base damage 35.7, and let's take a look at another LMG. I was looking at this earlier. So this LMG, Good Times High End, does base damage 56. So that's 21,000 more than the base damage of Bullet King, right? But the RPMs are down, and the mag is 100. It says the mag is 100 for Bullet King, but we know you don't have to reload. But then, I mean, look at that. The core attribute is off rip 9%, over 8%. Like if you're gonna make it an exotic, and then there's such a low percentage that it drops, and then we can't recalibrate it. And then if we did recalibrate it, we could only recalibrate the one stat. The thing about an exotic piece of equipment, like gear, backpack, gloves, mask, holster, knee pads, vest, is the unique talent. That's what we want it for. We don't necessarily want it for the armor or for the damage that it does. But if you're not going to allow us to enhance it, again, so why am I playing this game? And only in this past couple of weeks here, because when Warlords of New York first came out, I loved it. I thought, oh shit, this is smooth. And I thought, well, damn, this is kind of difficult. And this is only in story mode, so I wonder what it's going to be like when we get out there in the real world and start doing these other levels of difficulty. But, this is where I'm at right now, a couple weeks into it. And this is kind of how I was at the end before they released Warlords of New York. Getting like, this is kind of, I'm salty, man. Like, this is, it's repetitive and got me doing too much. And then with bounties, having to go back into the same locations over and over, it's just tiring, dude. So, crazy. I appreciate the comments, man, and I will catch you all later. This will be the end of the stream for today. Thursday, March 19, 2020. Dirty Bomb out.